She can come on in.
Good evening. Good evening, Atlanta.
Look at you, all warmed up. It's like you got your
Yeah.
stretches in.
Good evening. It is October 28th, 2019. This is Atlanta United FC Weekly, a Home Before Dark podcast. Toot, toot. It is game week. It is Eastern Conference Finals week. I am Tim Herb. As always, I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Mr. Kevin Bradley, across from me. And then coming in just a few minutes, my lovely wife, Angie Kakoma, Herb. Still feels weird to introduce her as that, but thank you guys for tuning in.
What? So, and you are now Tim Herb Kakoma, right?
Yes,
you guys
that's how we do it. Herkama. Yeah.
Sounds like Hickama.
So Joey Logan's asking where we're sitting on Wednesday. We're in 120. We're in our normal seats.
104.
104.
What you got? Some rosé?
No, it's spicy water.
Just vodka? Straight vodka?
Spicy water.
The spiciest of spicy waters. Oh, thank you guys for tuning in. This is going to be a good week.
It is.
It's going to be a great week.
You know what was good about recording the show before this? I feel loosened up. It's like we got our warm up in, ready to do this. It's good.
Ready to do the damn
We're
thing.
able to pregame. I mean,
So-
we pregamed the new show.
Joey's in 227.
I got a different word for it, but I don't want to.
Oh no, please do. Nothing's off limits on this show,
This is
obviously.
a fluffer episode.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
What's even weirder, she calls puppies and dogs fluffers too.
Oh,
Or we see them on the streets.
Wow, I never connected that. I was always so excited.
Yeah. Joey says nothing like a good fluffing. That is correct.
Man,
So Joey's in 227, Joe Johnstone in 246, Kendrick in 217. Domer, I think 102 and 103, that area. Kevin Gorman 125. Oh no, would have been, but he's traveling. He's watching from the depths of NYC.
oh no.
Nick Dunbar checking in from Houston, Texas.
I love
Thanks
it.
for joining us, man. Thanks for joining the
I'm
trap.
glad you knew what that was because that would have gone completely over my head.
Michelle's in 246.
Did you know what that was?
No, I was laughing at Joe Johnstone, but if you don't know that he's talking about his dog,
Yeah, one of his fluffers. Speaking of fluffers, his tore his ACL, her ACL.
You gotta go easy on it.
Yeah, LA Beevan's gonna be watching from home. Probably a lot of people from watching from home. Did we? Are we open up for the whole 70 plus?
I don't know. On a Wednesday night,
Yeah, that's you.
oh, sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. On a Wednesday night, probably not. We didn't do it last week. We still sold out the stadium, right? Still sold out the 45.
yeah, I think they would. I don't know though. With it being a conference championship,
Kendrick
I don't
says
know.
45.
Yeah, it sounds about right. So
Yeah. Which is still like, it's a great atmosphere.
How do you guys feel about the MLS Cup tickets being on sale?
I feel good because we got first dibs on buying them.
But is that not tempting fate?
Did we get them this early last time, or
I don't remember.
No, I think we did.
But last time we were guaranteed to host it.
okay? Yeah,
So I guess it makes sense. Like this is kind of on a hope and a prayer, not just that we make it, but that we also
get Seattle.
get Seattle, which again, it's just the too many stars have to align and I don't like it.
I don't think so though, man. Because we watched. Actually, I think both of us fell asleep during LA Galaxy and LAFC, but because it was after the game on Wednesday, you get home super late. Or was that Thursday last week? It was Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
We get home after the game on Thursday, like 11:30, and then watching the rest of the LA Galaxy LAFC game, falling asleep. But I've been saying it all season. LAFC is vulnerable. Like their back line is prone to give up goals in bunches whenever they do. And granted, Seattle, Rui Diaz isn't Zlatan Ibrahimovic, but that Seattle team, whenever Jordan Morris gets clicking and Christian Roldan is all over the place,
I guess
I
the
think-
point is that it gives season ticket holders a week. And somebody mentioned it just recently about that Kevin Gorham, all non-season ticket sales would have been last minute sales. So it allows season ticket holders a week to acquire tickets. And then we would know the results as of this week, whether or not we do host for it to open up to the general public. So from that standpoint, it makes sense. Otherwise, if they waited until the
Yeah.
results of tomorrow night to do so, everything would be in a week and a half, which is going to be a madhouse because you've got to at least give season ticket holders a couple of days with priority.
Yeah.
So
I think we've had almost, what have we had, like 5 days with the pre-sale so far?
Yeah.
If you guys are listening to us on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, on Stitcher, leave us a rating and or a review. Read it live on the show. Also helps out tremendously with us getting discovered by more people. And those of you guys who are watching on YouTube, thank you as always. And if you guys are not subscribed, which we know a good bit of our viewers aren't subscribed, make sure you hit the subscribe button, notification bell icon.
Yeah, especially on YouTube. Like, it's always going to be that way. It's more convenient to view media or consume media in an audio format, particularly in a conversation like this. But so much of the conversation and what we talk about and how we communicate about it is based on people in the chat. And that comes from people that are subscribed on YouTube. Hit the bell Holcomb icon and get the notification every we go live.
Yeah,
so
in some ways,
join in on the fun.
Yeah, the live chat, which year ago, I think they probably implemented it about a year ago. Live chat used to disappear. It was ephemeral. As soon as the episode was over, it was out in the ether. They couldn't keep that however many megabytes of data of people.
Yeah, you would have found, to Joe's point, we had a pregame here where we talked to Angie about creative endeavors that we've all got going on and outlooks for next year, and you would have been able to do that with us.
Yeah, that bubble stuff
Bubble
episode
stuff
that we're
coming
gonna start.
to you.
Yeah, start having.
Can't wait. I'm gonna start working on the logo for it. It's
How
gonna
did
be
it?
Great.
I don't think I've asked you, and I feel like a bad husband. But how did it feel to know that Lil Yachty was waving your flag last week on Thursday night?
I mean, I still haven't seen it.
I showed it to you because Waka Flocka had posted it on his story. I'd sent it to you.
I saw him, but I don't remember being able to see that he had the flag.
You can see like the bottom of the flag.
It's pretty cool. I don't know who that is, but
What? You don't know
I mean, I know
Lobo?
his name, but if I saw him, I couldn't tell you what he looked like.
Oh man!
But just getting the text from Kevin on the other side of the stadium is Lil Yachty's got the
I
flag.
was freaking out. It was awesome.
It was pretty great.
Yeah.
So
You feel me? I'm Lobo.
So, first of all, shout out to Extra Time Radio for finally joining the Big Boys Club.
Yeah, the Brown Liquor Club.
Having a brown liquor episode. As if-
Firewater Kevin
I'm glad you guys decided to put your big boy pants on, but hide it in mugs because that's not something I'm about here on this show.
No.
You just got to put it out there.
Yeah, we don't have to appease Continental Tire. Can't drink and drive on those $300 a piece tires.
But aside from that, they had a really great topic of conversation this past.
That pissed off
episode.
all of Atlanta United fans, included in that list of pissed off people is none other than Jason Longshore, the most level-headed person in the Atlanta United community. Who, Mike Conte will go crazy on the broadcast, and then Longshore still he keeps an even keel.
I'd be like, no, it was a foul.
Yeah,
It was.
Conte's like, I can't believe this is ridiculous. It's like, no, he got his leg. Yeah, it looks like if you watch the replay, he was offside.
So, along those lines, the topic of discussion on their show was if Atlanta United wins MLS Cup, have they had a more successful season than LAFC? And I'm interested to hear your thoughts on that. I'll obviously give mine as well, but what are your thoughts?
This isn't European soccer. Supporter Shield doesn't win you the league. That's not how it works here. So to me, whoever wins MLS Cup, I would put the same thing. I would flip the scenario here. Like if we won Supporter Shield, even if we won Supporter Shield, U.S. Open Cup, Campeones Cup,
you have to wipe off the table just because LAFC doesn't even have a chance to compete in that.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, take that out of there. So we have U.S. Open Cup, and if we win MLS Cup, I think it's a more successful season. I think if the shoe was on the other foot and we were Supporter Shield winners, and then LAFC had won both of those, I would still, even if we had won U.S. Open Cup and Supporter Shield, I would say that if you win MLS Cup, you're still the most successful team in the league because to that point, you get the right to play in Campeones Cup. You get the right to a couple other things. I mean, I don't know. To me, I'm an American sports fan. at the core. And I feel like if you win the playoffs, it's a more successful season.
It feels different this year with going straight to 1-game matchups and sudden death. Like all you had to do was make it to the playoffs, and then it's anybody's game from there. So even though we've earned it and we turned it around at the beginning and we've been on the up climb since then, it still feels like we just snuck in there a little bit to me.
Let me take this and put it a different way. If Seattle Sounders win MLS Cup, or if Toronto FC wins MLS Cup, do they have an argument for having a better season than LAFC?
Wait, say that again. Sorry.
If Seattle or Toronto, let me take Atlanta United out of the equation. If Toronto or Seattle win MLS Cup, do they have a claim to having a better season than LAFC?
Yeah, I think so.
Because you performed under the pressure when it counted. All you had to do is get there, and then once you got there, you put on the show.
The counter argument that I've seen that makes me hesitant to give a resounding, like, absolutely MLS Cup winner automatically gets it, is the manner in which LAFC played out their season. And that they
like the 18-1 Patriots that lost to the Giants in the Super Bowl.
Exactly.
You know what they're not remembered as?
They're
not remembered as champions.
Absolutely. And I get that counter argument. And I think the thing that validates Atlanta United's claim to that more so maybe than Seattle or Toronto, and I hate this because it's going to be phased and filtered through some sort of a homer lens, is that you have to take into consideration the entirety of this season for a club that played more games and garnered more results than LAFC did, with their starters playing an international duty without the ability to maybe rack up the additional goals that Carlos Vela was able to do so, that suffered throughout a regular season run because of the extra games that were imposed on them early on in the season in a CONCACAF run, going through a new management structure and system in its very first year with injuries at a pivotal position at left back that hindered them for a large portion of the first part of the season. So from that standpoint, I think Atlanta has a claim even without the MLS Cup, just because of what they've been able to, so how about this? What's more meaningful in the regular season is maybe even if you take MLS Cup off the board, and what maybe makes my decision for me is that what's more meaningful to a club, Supporter Shield or Open Cup and Campeones Cup? Right? Like you've got two trophies.
Okay, so we're talking about number 2. So are we all in agreement that MLS Cup reigns supreme as the mark of success during a season?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, otherwise, did New York Red Bulls have the best season last year? No. Because they were beaten in resounding fashion not once but twice by the team that won it.
Well, no, we only beat them one of those games.
I thought we beat them twice.
I think we lost 1-0.
1-0. That's what it was. That's what it was.
But regardless.
But the first game was a fucking blowout.
What's Robert Wick talking about? 2016 Sounders? Dude, the trap is going crazy.
Yeah. I keep seeing it out of the corner of my eye, and I can't follow it. That's why I have to just keep looking at you guys.
Kendrick Brock, interesting. He said he'd take Campeones over the Shield. He said Campeones helped us make a name for ourselves around the world. I think that's actually not a bad shout.
Now, I don't agree with Joey's point. MLS Cup, US Open Cup, Campeones Cup, Shield. I would at least put Shield above Campeones Cup just because it takes a longer run. And I would almost be willing to put it above US Open Cup because it's going to take it takes more effort to get the Shield than it does either one of those other two. Considering the quality of opponents that you're playing for the large majority of the US Open Cup.
Yeah. I want to stop and say, if you guys are listening to just the audio, it would behoove you to go into the chat on YouTube. We're at the 14.5-minute mark. If you guys go there, that live transcript of that live chat, it's bouncing off. Like, we try and stay on top of it. It's been hard.
Yeah.
It's been very hard.
And normally staying on top of things that are hard is a lot easier, but this is one of those that proves a bit difficult. It gives you a good anchor.
Yes, as Domer said, you would be remiss if you didn't go back and check it out. We got another new name in the trap, Bradley D, saying that's what she said. How appropriate,
Exactly.
Bradley D.
Bradley D from Kevin Bradley sharing same mind.
I think Kevin Gorham lays the gauntlet down. He said you can't drink beer or bourbon out of that damn shield.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that's it.
That's a good point.
That's it, guys. It's done. No, and then Pierce Hicks, who he's saying, honestly, it's about dynasty status. I'll take our more cups over the best season. And I agree.
Now that's a great point that Brian mentioned.
Brian Reynolds
choked on the way to the Shield last year.
Yeah, so let's not act like we didn't choke on the way there. That's true. It's very true. But at the same time,
again, it's tough because postseason has to weigh into the qualifications for season as we're talking about it. If we're talking about season before playoffs, absolutely LAFC had the better season.
Well, yeah, I mean,
they clearly did. They got the best of Atlanta United the one time. And this is going to make a lot of people mad in our fan base based on the same logic that a lot of people had last year going into the college football playoffs. UGA lost to Alabama in the SEC championship. They had a chance to qualify themselves against a team within the top 4 in the country, and they lost. By that logic, they do not get to then leverage that to say that they're one of the best in the best 4 teams in the country, because they quite literally lost to that team. So by that same metric and same logic, you would hold that in if you're going to equate the better season. The one chance Atlanta United had in a head-to-head competition during the regular season between the two teams, Atlanta United fell short. And they fell short overall. You can quantify whether the East was better than the West and all day long, however much you want. But even among their competition, they did not garner the same amount of points or accolades that LAFC did, even though you have to put some consideration into the extra games and all of that. But the one time they had a chance to compete against one another, LAFC was the victor. Now, whenever you talk about a season as a whole, including playoffs, if Atlanta United wins, particularly against LAFC in a MLS Cup, there's no fucking debate, because that's the biggest opportunity to represent that. Like, if you're the best team, you have to win on the biggest stage.
Yeah.
That's the difference, is that if Atlanta United doesn't get to play LAFC in the MLS Cup, that's when the door opens for some debate, because it could have just been a fluke game. Sounders end up getting the win. I'm sure a lot of NYCFC people are going to be saying that about the Toronto match because it's a couple of boneheaded mistakes and the new format, yada, yada, yada. But if Atlanta United goes on the road in an MLS Cup final and wins, there's no debating that fact anymore. You know, right now it's all conjecture because you don't know, and the one opportunity they had, they fell short. So we'll see how it goes. If we get the chance to.
So Kevin Gorham brought up 2 points, or brought up this point twice. Just one more time for the people in the back, because the trap's been pinging and zanging, saying we've played more games in a calendar year than almost anyone in MLS history and are still this close to another championship game. That is more impressive. That is more impressive than being good for a season. He said credit to that stat is most likely from Mike Conti.
And to Brittany S's point, we've got Toronto next, and maybe that's a good time to segue into that topic of discussion, which is to talk about this past week's match against Philly and what we saw. Saw a lot of lineup changes, and we're going to see even more going into the match this Wednesday, and what our thoughts are going up against Toronto. But any word on Miles or Michael Parkhurst?
I think the only thing that I saw was that they are hopeful that Parkhurst is going to be available on Wednesday.
Because we're going to need him.
Yeah. I didn't see anything related to Miles Robinson, but yeah, I mean, Kevin Gorham saying he's out. And then Parkey's in first team training.
Thank God, because we absolutely do not have LGP because of the yellow card accumulation.
Yeah.
Did he get that card in the first half or second half?
First half.
So does he only have to miss the first half of this?
No.
Game? Come on, man. Doesn't get college football rules.
Some bullshit disciplinary action. Oh, God. Yeah, and then Brian Reynolds. We'll talk about the Julian Gressel stuff in a little bit too.
Yeah,
We don't want to.
absolutely.
We'll end the show on a damper, I guess.
Yeah. Well, no. Why not bring it up now?
Okay.
I mean, we're already talking about big picture. If Atlanta United even makes it to the MLS Cup, which is putting the cart way before the fucking horse. We all agree that there's no guarantee that Atlanta United even gets a chance to play an MLS Cup. That said, we also don't know what's going to happen in the offseason, but we all can speculate, which is the fate of Julian Gressel.
So Felipe Cardenas, I sent this to you guys earlier today, of The Athletic, said, I asked Gressel if he could share any details about his future with Atlanta United. I'm sorry, with hashtag ATLUTD. He said, I don't want to, quote, I don't really want to get upset, to be honest, so I don't want to talk about it, unquote.
I think that's further validation that we all have been assuming is that he's going to be gone.
Maybe he's just upset about the way talks have been going, but he's not necessarily leaving.
That's true.
That's what I'm hoping. I mean, I'm not hoping, but
Yeah.
I'm just thinking maybe he's not getting the answers he wants yet, and he's upset about it, but he's not necessarily out the door.
Or he's upset because of the fact that it's going to come down to negotiation and things that he doesn't know right now. I think it might be that. It could be that he doesn't want to get upset thinking about the prospect of not being here because it's not necessarily a final thing. Obviously, he doesn't have an offer on the table from somewhere else, and I don't think he has a definitive answer. No, he's not going to get what he's asking for. I think we can all assume based on what we've seen thrown around, but I think it would make me pretty upset to know that I was playing for a cup for a team that I may or may not be a part of if those negotiations don't work out, right? I mean, I think that's what it comes down to more so than anything is that there's just a lot of unknown on his part.
Oh, so LGP didn't get a yellow? I swear he got a yellow last game.
I could have swore he did too.
Who got a yellow in the first half then? Am I crazy?
Yeah, he did. What? The trap is torn. The trap is torn. I thought he did too, Michelle.
I thought he did.
No, it was Julian Gressel had one.
Okay. So then he's not suspended. Oh, he got a talking to. Okay.
I swear I feel like
I remember he got talked to and it was way too early on, but then that ref just kept giving everyone talk tos for a long time.
Oh God.
Whoo, okay. That's
nice.
Hey, a new name in the trap.
William Julius said not suspended for sure.
Thank God. Thank God.
Okay, so this is like not the Streisand effect. This is the Mandela effect. It's like half of us swear that he got a yellow card, and the other half are like, "You guys are idiots."
Yeah. Oh well, they wouldn't be wrong if they're talking about me.
I remember. So Kendrick says that Larry had a talk with the ref. Jeff Lorenowitz, captaining us, said that we had a talk. He had a talk with the ref.
Oh really?
Pre-game to inform him about the yellow card situation for him and LGP.
Okay, so everybody's available, which is good. So, all right, let's go back to line. Any other points on Gressel? Obviously, I think we all want him to stay.
Yeah.
Tim?
Yeah, I've seen worse contract disputes and all that end better and end on good terms and end up in the player staying with the team. So I'm not going to read too much into it. There's a whole lot going on that could play into this. There's a new CBA coming at the beginning of next year. The salary cap rules are the salary cap's going to change. Rules are going to change. There's going to be a whole new structure to it. So hopefully if he holds out long enough, hopefully he can, or we sign him as a free agent, whatever, after his contract runs out, hopefully he can get more money because I think it's absurd that he's making less than Jose Hernandez. Like, I still think that's a guy that's made maybe one first team appearance that I can think of off the top of my head.
I don't even know who that is.
It's the guy that we saw at Brewster's one night, and I was like, oh, I want to go say hi to him, but I don't want to bug him.
I think maybe some of that will shake. I think some of that may shake itself out as Atlanta United maybe reconciles some of that with the players that they do have that are making more than him and says, okay, well, we'll get rid of some of these other guys and figure this out. So, okay, well, I'm glad that we have LGP. Sometimes you think it's a flare up and it's just a false alarm.
Yeah.
It's just a boil.
Yeah.
How often? How often do you think that?
At least once a month.
Okay.
But remember, it's not about getting rid of it. It's about suppressing it.
That's it. That's it.
It's about suppression.
And look, we're good now.
I'm not the only one who remembers the Valtrex commercials from the 90s.
Yeah,
right?
no matter what, LGP gets to play if we advance because it resets it. For
Correct.
The final. So
Yeah.
we're good. Okay. Whew. That's great. All right. So, match last Thursday. Thoughts on the game?
I'm pretty disappointed. We walked out of the stadium and we were singing "Dupe," and nobody
Which version? Though?
sarcastically.
Like I put my hand up on you when I dupe, you dupe, we dupe. Oh, I meant to play dupe whenever we opened up. Why did I
Yeah.
not do that?
I don't know. We were yelling.
Don't worry, I'll fix it.
We were yelling it on the way out of the stadium, and nobody was doing it sarcastically with us either. But there were no Philly fans that were around to really get under their skin.
What was the name of the band that did it? I don't
Oh
remember.
God, I don't know. Just look up Dupe
I
Philadelphia United or Philadelphia Union.
Is this it? Is
Nope,
that-
that is not it. That is absolutely not it. I don't know what that was.
Circus.
All these songs.
So Michelle was asking about the announcers for the game. I haven't
Definitely
rewatched.
not it.
I didn't rewatch the game. I don't know
Don't worry, guys.
who was actually doing the announcing for the game. Was it Taylor Twellman? And there it is.
There it is. It's so bad. Oh,
Yeah, I completely forgot. I thought about this all week about playing it at the beginning of the show, and then I completely blanked on it.
Oh, the announcers, Alejandro Moreno, and who was the Adrian Healy and Alejandro Moreno. Yeah, that's right. I guess if people were apparently saying that they were pretty bad.
A dirty bird person still slaps.
Still
It definitely does.
Dupe still slaps. Oh my God, Bill Holcomb joining us.
Oh,
He said
man.
"Dupe bitches." That's
Yeah.
absolutely correct.
Oh, that's great.
Um,
So, thoughts on the game overall? Good game? Joseph's worst, arguably?
I mean, I don't know. That goal is pretty great.
Oh, aside from the goal, obviously. But the few other opportunities he has right in front of goal,
Yeah.
you expect him to be
Yes.
maybe a little bit better.
Yes.
Which
I was worried.
is a high standard to put on a
It is
player.
very high, but you can see how upset he gets each miss.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
like, just let him have one
Yeah.
so we can have Joseph back.
Yeah. We were edged the entire
oh, we edged for like 70 minutes. Just
and then just filled up a
just fluffers on the field. No, legitimately, he had one of his worst finishing nights that I can remember in a while. But
Yeah.
it did end with the absolute like that finish was ridiculous. It was ludicrous the way that he was able to finish it from that angle, and with his off foot no less.
Yeah.
At that
I don't
whatever that
know
was,
how he did
15-degree angle that he was on the side of the
Ridiculous.
and to
Ridiculous.
beat a great keeper like Andre Blake like that.
who ends up making a huge save in the other one-on-one that he
Oh,
has with Joseph.
that and didn't he make another save in that same run of play? Wasn't there another
Dude,
and
that
Franco Escobar doing a bicycle kick to put it back into
he
the
did
box?
2 saves during that transition. That was the most entertaining full minute of play out of Atlanta United's entire season to me. Like just relentless attempts on goal, and he gets multiple saves. Franco Escobar taking it out to the outside edge of the 18 just to fucking juggle it and bicycle it back in.
Yeah.
Oh,
He had a very FIFA night.
Escobar played with his hair
He's
on
been
fire.
hustling, yeah.
He did, but at the same time, like I almost wanted to rip his hair out the one time that he dribbled. He was like a quarterback getting chased by a defensive end and not throwing the ball out of bounds.
Oh, you mean just like Mikey Ambrose?
Hey, say what you will about Mikey.
No, don't you say what I will about Mikey. I've been I've been in Mikey's corner. You weren't. You say what you will about Mikey.
I wasn't, but rationally speaking, like I don't think that I was out of line to say that I thought throughout the season that having Justin Merrim at left back would have been more logical. But kudos to Frank DeBoer. I think that was my main takeaway from that game. I think was that Frank DeBoer just put on a fucking masterclass of management.
I'm still on the fence. DeBoer out until proven otherwise.
I'm American, but I think
I'm
guilty.
DeBoer Trout.
Yeah.
I'm DeBoer Trout until proven otherwise.
Yeah.
Until MLS Cup proves otherwise.
Yeah, Kevin is a Mikey stan. He is. He absolutely is.
I don't know about all of that. I think I stand up for a player that was played so far out of his natural position that it was not only
Oh
on
my
the
God, yeah, that
opposite
was
side, but on like he went from a natural left back position to playing right wing against Monterey, and then people were like, "God, why does Mikey Ambrose suck so bad?" What the fuck do you expect? I mean, you've taken a player and put him completely out of position, and it's noticeably obvious every time he possesses the ball and he's trying to turn to the right to the outline. Like, come on, what do you expect? So yeah, okay, Bill Holcomb and Mikey's natural position is on Atlanta United.
Oh, that's rough, man.
That is pretty brutal.
What I was gonna say what you will about him. He didn't put on a flashy performance except for that one.
Aside from that was pretty cheeky though. The little back heel
through two defenders,
pretty
and there's
great.
no reason for any of it.
Jeff's just standing there.
Yeah.
No, he played a no frills game. He played a lot of lateral and back passes throughout the game,
and he didn't expose himself much.
No, he absolutely
he
didn't.
stayed at midfield at the I think you could probably count on one hand the amount of times he traveled up past midfield, which is great.
Yeah. I wanted to talking about Frank de Boer putting on a masterclass in management.
Wait, he has a masterclass?
Yeah. And on Thursday night, and then to harken back to what you're talking about whenever he played Mikey Ambrose at right wing back. So Joe Patrick was they were doing media today at the training ground, and Frank de Boer said any manager wants, or said Frank de Boer said any manager wants to put their stamp on a new team, but that when he came to Atlanta, quote, maybe we put too many stamps on the team, unquote. He says they now have found the right balance and players believe more in the system that has been adapted to fit them. So
this is what the revelation I came to in this match, which was whenever Atlanta United has had the lead throughout the entire season, I think it's what's also led to the disparaging statistics as it relates to Atlanta United not winning games whenever they've been down a goal, is their ability through possession-based offense to maintain a lead, which is what happened against Philadelphia Union. They got the lead, and then all they had to do was play possession and force Philly to come out to take the ball from them. Like, they had nothing to, like, Philly had to push the issue, and ultimately it ends up leading to the second goal and potentially some others that were just a touch or a really great save away from being 3 or 4-0. So that's where, Frank's quote about people buying into the system, I think really plays into the mentality of this team through a possession-based tactic that can still prove really lethal on a quick break or a counter with all 3 DPs finally playing at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a while since we've seen that.
I think we've only seen it a handful of
times
all season.
I think it was twice during the season, if I'm not mistaken. And how much of what was being made of P.D. Martinez not starting against New England 2 weeks in a row, how much of that was just TMZ type gossip that ended up being nothing?
You're absolutely right, Bill. I agree. Guzan has a phenomenal save to keep that from being 1-1. Aside from one play, though, maybe there's a couple. Statistically or throughout the run of play, there wasn't so much to lead me to the opinion that game was ever out of control. There's always going to be 1 or 2 of those. I mean, without Andre Blake's miracle double save, it's not 3-0, or 3-1 by that same logic. You've got to have players that make big plays in big games. That's part of it. And so I think Atlanta United has shown that they're capable of doing so more often than not through this tactic and this approach in the system. That's all I'm saying. It's not going to keep those things from ever happening. A penalty on Pogba. When was that? I don't remember that.
I don't remember Pogba doing anything to give up a penalty.
Now, to that point, the ref was calling everything, so everything could have looked like a penalty because he was calling every sort of.
Since we have like referees in the trap most of the week, we were watching soccer yesterday. There was a penalty that happened, or no. There was what looked to be a penalty, but we were waiting on a dead ball for like 2 minutes. What happens if there was a penalty that got missed, but the team still ends up scoring? Does the referee go to VAR and then award another penalty on top of it?
I think the goal gets reversed. I think that happened with Red Bulls last year, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure that's what happened last year in a Red Bulls game, not for Atlanta United, but I think something similar to that happened where a penalty was awarded, or either they got a goal or they were really close to scoring a goal and they pulled it back. I might be misremembering this, but I feel like that happened.
Yeah,
could be wrong. Yeah.
Okay. They would reverse the goal, and then what happened to advantage? That sounds stupid. Anyway.
So yeah, I thought overall it was a good game. The game was never really in doubt. There's always going to be times when you need your players to step up and make a play for the shortcomings of somebody else, but I don't think that was such commonplace in this past match. Let me put it this way. I feel better going into the Toronto match than I did going into the Philly match.
Yeah.
Having seen what I saw against Philly.
We're still booing Michael Bradley, right? And Jose Altidore on Wednesday.
You do it, and I will survey the land and see how many other people are doing it too.
Oh, I'm sure everybody will.
Yeah, but is it just like the guy next to us who's just booing as soon as he hears it?
Booing.
Yeah. And he doesn't
Tim's
know why.
gonna start it.
Yep, I am, because I'm still mad.
But he's not on our team, so at a certain point, it's a good thing to see him out there because he's not that.
Okay,
scary.
so it was a Atlanta United match that happened. We were down 4-1, penalty given to Atlanta, and goal taken away for the 2-3. Atlanta goes on to win 4-3.
Okay. Could we get a Trinidad chant going during the game for Altidore and Bradley?
Oh, boy.
Yeah? No, you're right, though. I do feel more confident going against Toronto than I do.
Is Josie healthy? Is he going to play?
I believe, I can't remember who put that in the trap, said expect about 30 minutes from him tomorrow. So I guess we'll see. Elliot Beaven says he doesn't think Omar Gonzalez is going to play.
30 minutes healthy, Kevin Gorham says.
30 minutes healthy. Pozuelo's still the guy, right? Pozuelo, Richie Larea, and then, I think that's the main thing you got to worry about on Wednesday. But I feel confident. I feel confident in the team on Wednesday. Tomorrow night, to me, I'm way more nervous about tomorrow night than I am on Wednesday night. And maybe because it's closer, and
I don't think that there's any doubt. Whether or not Atlanta United's capable of beating LAFC, we could talk about that until the sun comes up. But Sounders versus LAFC, I don't see LAFC losing that match.
I do.
You said that last week. You've been saying that every week.
Well, if
what did I tell you? You can only get one. What happened? You only got one.
To be fair, I do believe it's bullshit that at Bank of California Stadium, the supporter section can smoke out David Bingham.
It's the same thing as
get scored on. What the fuck is that?
It's the same fucking thing that Orlando City did last year whenever Dom Dwyer gets 2 goals in the smoke.
I know. It's absurd that's allowed.
Yeah, I agree.
It's absolutely absurd.
Especially in playoffs.
That game's 4-3 at that point. Or don't
even get me started on the offside goal that LAFC manages to get in that doesn't get reviewed or overturned.
Yeah. And Domer's right. Seattle can play that cynical shit style and bunker for penalties. And what Rob Swick, who was in the trap earlier,
interesting strategy to go against this LAFC team. Just bunker and hold out for penalties. What do you got to lose?
Yeah. And Rob Swick pointed out earlier on in the trap, talking about the whole comparison of what's more of a successful season, whenever he said Seattle won MLS Cup in 2016 without a shot on goal because they ended up just going to penalties.
I didn't even know that.
So yeah, Brian Smetzer, who Angie can't stand, is probably gonna the Sounders.
Said Seattle's already killing time.
Seattle's manager, whenever he comes on.
Oh yeah. No. No. I don't know. I don't really have anything else to say about him other than whenever he's on.
He's annoying. He's obnoxious on the microphone, but I don't know. Yeah, and Nick Dunbar saying he's going with Seattle in this one. Their defense is better, and LAFC's defense is garbage. Agreed. That to me is the main sticking point. If Rui Diaz and Roldan and Jordan Morris come out on Wednesday and they're firing, LAFC is gonna have Swiss cheese defense. What's his name? Who's the keeper for LAFC? I can't remember the kid's name, but he let in a really shit goal. He's constantly a liability back there, it seems like.
Where is this LAFCD is garbage notion coming from, aside from this last match against LA Galaxy? Because even if you've got even if you do take that argument, first of all, I want to know where it's coming from. Second of all, even if you take that position, you're talking about a team that ended up plus 48 in fucking goal differential. It doesn't matter how bad your defense is if you're putting up that amount of goals.
Yeah, you're right. And
which is exactly how they beat Atlanta United and LA Galaxy this year.
And I'm being hyperbolic. They had the best defense in the league in terms of goals allowed. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like there are definitely times where their defense looks suspect.
Now, to your point, they're playing the team that had the second most points in the West. And let me see how many goals scored. So they're playing against a team that had 6 less goals for over the course of the season than LA Galaxy did and conceded 10 less goals on the season. So maybe, to your point, maybe that's what balances out, but you're doing sports math at a certain point. And it's saying, okay, well, maybe Seattle's defense is a little bit better than Galaxy. So maybe they don't concede the third and fourth goal or the fourth and fifth goal that Galaxy does. And maybe they're capable of at least holding ground with a scoring opportunity or chance creation standpoint that Galaxy was. And maybe you end up with a draw and it goes to PKs or something, but you're still splitting hairs. I don't think it's such a definitive statement to say that LAFC's defense is atrocious and it automatically goes to Seattle. I don't know that that's necessarily the case. That's all I'm saying.
So Connor Thompson, I love this. So Seattle has pixie dust magic plus ultra vegans. It's true. It's true. It's very true. So one thing that is hard to judge too is their head-to-head happened in April in back-to-back weeks.
For Seattle?
Yeah. So
Okay.
LAFC.
And that was when Seattle was terrible. They were at the bottom of the West at the time.
LAFC won 4-1 the first game, and then the next week they drew 1-1.
Fair enough.
But Seattle's record over the past, let's see, 2, 4. I mean, they've won 5 of their last 7 games, including the playoffs. So, I mean, I don't know. They're a good team. They're well-rounded.
But how many has LAFC won?
LAFC only
over the last 7.
I want to say they won, let's see, 1, 2, 3.
Only 3 of their last 7?
Yeah, they went through a stretch where they went through a 5-game winless stretch.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, they drew LA Galaxy. They lost to Minnesota. They drew Orlando. They drew Philly. They drew Toronto.
Domer makes a good point. The draw against Seattle was at Seattle, and Ladero got a red in the 19th minute. I didn't realize that.
And the other thing that you really can't substitute is the experience, too. I mean, that Seattle team, time and time again, seems like they make it deep into the playoffs, right? They were in the same position last year playing against Portland.
Yeah.
And they were close to making their way into MLS Cup. So
now Connor Thompson has had the most logical. I mean, I don't know if I would say, I think this is a successful season regardless of what happens against Toronto. But his point is, if we beat Toronto, I call this a successful season. If and only if we play LAFC, 3 trophies, 1 season. I think, like, what's at the essence of that is that, like, regardless of the outcome of or at the core of that statement is that if we end up losing to LAFC, this is still a successful season, I think is what I take from that. And I think that even it's the same stance I took last week against Philly, is that I think this team is playing on found money
Yeah.
in large part, right? I mean, to me, it doesn't matter if Atlanta wins against Toronto this week. What do you guys think? Successful season or not? Right now. Season ends today.
Yes, but looking at where we started from this season, no one expects you to come back after winning the cup and doing it again in the second year with a new coach, with new big players, and it took so long for everybody to kind of learn how to work together. The fact that we've gotten to this point, yes, it feels like found money. It's going to be really hard to be like, if we lose when we got this close, it's going to take a little while to kind of appreciate it and not just be bummed. But I do agree. I think playing Toronto feels like a known enemy where we have a chance. Playing LAFC feels a little bit more outside the realm of reality. So I will feel a little bit better if we can just win this week and then
Yeah,
look at it
that's
from
a
there.
good point. That's a good point. How much does the day that we play weigh into that? Like, if I feel like if we lost on a Saturday, I'd feel better by Monday. Playing on a Wednesday night after work, and then I gotta get up, go to work the next day, I feel like I'm gonna feel way worse. And it's gonna be delayed grief. I gotta wait until the weekend.
It's Halloween.
Yeah, Halloween will help wash that away. Bill Holcomb actually brings up a good point. He said, have we ever beaten Seattle?
We've beaten every team in MLS.
Did we end up beating them this year?
I believe so. If not this year, then last year. But I remember seeing the thing that we've beaten every team in the MLS, and we were the fastest team to do it.
We lost to Seattle this year.
I think we beat them last year.
2-1? Yeah, no.
We haven't? No, that doesn't make sense.
I don't know. Yeah, we've never beaten them.
Was it just that Joseph had scored against every team?
That might have been
Yeah,
it.
Joseph scored against every team. Yeah.
That was it.
And that feels like a win.
You're right.
Whereas LAFC last year, we beat 5-0 in our building.
Right. You're right.
It was obviously a completely different team, but and Bob Bradley, that whole thing with Sebastian Salazar after the game, that really rubbed me the wrong way. I wasn't a huge fan of Bob Bradley to begin with, but did you watch that?
I know that
Get lost.
I know that you're a huge fan of
Get lost.
I know you're a huge Zlatan fan. What about
Get
him?
lost.
What about him? You a big fan of his gesture after the game?
Oh, him doing the Madunianin?
Him grabbing his junk to the
Kind
I
of.
missed that.
Yeah, he was walking past I think LAFC supporter section. He just grabbed his junk and shook it.
Why is that a thing?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, I know what it means, but who started it and why is everybody else
I think the
doing it?
rap game in the 80s.
The rap game in the 80s?
I think that's what it was. You just stand and grab your junk.
I don't know. Or maybe it could have gone back to like some like Western wear. When you got your gun right there or something, right?
Yeah, your frontless chaps.
That's it. That's what that's the only chaps I wear.
Do they make front full chaps?
The front of your butt.
Yeah, the front of your butt.
It's just like an apron. That's all that is, basically. Oh no, that would have a front on it. Sorry.
Oh man. Joey says look up the guy who talks smack to him. Zlatan said his name is at LAFC soccer head, I guess.
Of course. He's just
he
like
paints himself gold like gold dust.
God almighty.
Gold dust.
All right, so
back to Bob Bradley. Did you see the shirt that he wore?
No. Was it a Hydra shirt? Please tell me it was a Hydra shirt.
No, it was flesh colored to the point where he told Sebastian
looks like a
he
looks like a giant thumb.
Yes. He did. He told Sebastian Salazar, get lost, and then walked away. And he as he gets further from the camera, he looks more and more naked, like more and more
the
topless.
Angriest Michael Keaton.
Yeah,
Oh,
I don't think I've seen Michael Keaton that angry since
Birdman.
Oh no, I was angry because I sat through that movie.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy, I like that movie.
Hey, buddy, I like Birdman.
I'm more of an other guy's fan.
Whatever. All right. So, any other takeaways from the game against Philly? Escobar having great. Let's talk about defense a little bit because LGP is obviously staying.
Because we're not.
Because we're idiots.
Yeah, we didn't,
Look, I mean, I'm expecting you to maybe call me on some bullshit. This is the problem. You've let the results of the vault get into your head and you just take me at face value. I don't know if you heard, but I had the best predictions for the season before the season began. And now here we are.
Yeah, he got it by 4. Yeah, he doubled me up.
Yep.
Predictions.
Dan's pretty trash though. Something we can all agree on.
Hashtag where's Dan?
Defensively speaking,
I really liked the Pogba Mikey combination because it was terrifying when they put up that lineup. It was like, what is this? Because we've seen Pogba in bits and pieces, but to have him start next to little Mikey, it just seemed like, okay, well, that's where all of the attacks are coming.
You just see whenever they walk. They walk out of the tunnel instead of Pogba.
They're holding
Pogba holding a kid's hand. It's just where we going, Thunder?
No, that's not what Mikey sounds like. Do a Mikey Ambrose impression.
I can't get my voice that high.
Oh man.
But then they were great. It was the weirdest.
Oh yeah. It was great. I will say, shame on me. I thought Pogba, I was skeptical at best about Pogba's ability to play a full 90, and he showed that he is fully capable of doing so in that match this past week. And so that's arguably my biggest takeaway from that game, because you expect the other players to play up to their ability. And I think for the most part, most of them did. The one player that didn't really have a huge standout game was Nagbe, and I think it was as a result of Escobar playing so offensively structured that Nagbe was the one having to fall back and cover. So from that standpoint, I think everybody sort of played up to their potential aside from maybe Nagbe. But my biggest takeaway is that Pogba had a full.
Were we saying Nagbe didn't have a good game?
No, I'm just saying he didn't have the type of match that you would expect him to have because his role changed drastically, having to play more defensively structured because LGP and Escobar were up for every single corner. Escobar was tracking up more times than he wasn't. So Nagbe was the person having to fall back to cover for that most of the time.
I kept forgetting Nagbe was even on the field.
Yeah.
There's just so much time that you didn't see. Not that he wasn't doing work somewhere,
right?
But he wasn't.
But that's also why Escobar had the kind of noticeable game that he did, because he was getting involved in the run of play where Nagbe typically would. But you didn't need Nagbe to have that role or position, and that's what we talked about last week, where we knew that we would likely see Pity and Barco. And how does Pity, Barco, and Nagbe all fit into a front? Like an offensive attack whenever they're going to seemingly get in each other's way. And I think that the balance from that was that Nagbe kind of took a step back and covered for Escobar to track forward and back on the wing. So from that regard, I think it worked out.
Yeah, you're right too. And like you said, you touched on it last week. That game was never really going to have that much of a midfield to begin with, the way that the Philly games usually end up. And I thought, to go back to the Mikey and Pogba situation, immediately thought they're going to attack this. They're going to loft balls at Mikey Ambrose all game. And they started with it, and I was like, oh God, here it goes. Like he's already taken on 50-50 balls in the box.
Yeah.
And then the team backs him up, like just collectively.
Yeah.
Really sound back there. And then the other thing you saw it, I don't know, I was looking at Twitter. And at halftime, everybody's like, well, they're about to bring on Ilsinho, and this is going to really spell the end of it for Mikey Ambrose. And then he got beat one time, and then other than that, before getting subbed out, Ilsinho was kind of a non-factor most of the game whenever he was in there.
Again, I think my opinion on this defense is if they can play a containing defense based on a possession-based attack, and that goes back to what Bill's point was earlier about the most concerning moment in that match defensively was a time when that opportunity didn't present itself to have a defender really contain and get an overlapping defense. I've been saying it for weeks now, is that when Atlanta United shines on defense, it's whenever a player steps up and contains and has an overlapping defender there to cover if they get beat. When Atlanta United gets exposed defensively is whenever that doesn't present itself or a defender makes a rash decision to step out of line and try to be a hero and then exposes Guzan to a one-on-one. So what I think that both Mikey and Pogba did really well was to maintain that level of play where they weren't trying to be a hero or do something out of line, so much so that I think that plays into why Mikey wasn't up past midfield more times than not, because he wasn't exposing that back line as a result of that. And he didn't really need to go up much past that to begin with, because between Barco and Pity and everybody else up top, we just didn't need it out of him. With Escobar and Gressel on the right side, who needs a left side, you know?
Yeah. No, if nothing else, the game on Thursday definitely makes me feel more comfortable going into the Toronto game, because I think you mentioned whenever we were watching NYCFC in Toronto, it's like if not for those big mistakes, Toronto doesn't even score.
No.
Yeah. Like they gave up that NYCFC gave up that really horrible Monterito's penalty at the game was
NYFC dominated that entire game. The Toronto got so lucky to get out of there. And that's again where I come back to, I don't feel so bad going into this match. Now I could always be wrong, and I hope the players aren't feeling that way, because on TV, sure it looked like, I mean, you would expect us to play to at least close to the level NYC plays with day to day. And from that standpoint, if you're equating Atlanta United to an NYC caliber team, Toronto looked outplayed for 88 minutes out of 90.
I hope so.
Yeah.
But it comes down to single elimination playoffs. You cannot afford to make those kinds of mistakes. You cannot head a ball directly up into the air and expect your keeper to come out off his line to retrieve it, or make a slide tackle in the 89th minute inside the box.
Yeah.
Nowhere near ball. I mean, come on.
Yeah. He really shit the bed on that.
Now, what I will say is that I forget the name of our official, but Mike Conti did tweet out that our official is the official that awarded 2 PKs in stoppage time the last time we played Toronto.
Hold on just a second. Somebody put it in the Slack earlier. Alan Kelly's going to be our referee. That is correct. Speaking of formations and that, Joey's talking about us having a press cover technique, banana backline. Domer brings up the great and powerful phallic formation.
I think we go 2-1-1-1-1-1-1-1.
Yeah. Yeah. The phallic formation, it works.
It does.
It works. It's very narrow.
Yeah. But it's an impenetrable wall that disallows movement laterally across the field, because you've got a strong shaft in the middle.
You just stay in the box the whole game.
That's it. You're able to move forward and back. You might get a little one of these every now and then. Get a little bend in it.
The inflatable wacky car salesman guy. Okay. Score prediction for Wednesday. Score prediction for Tuesday.
Ooh,
for the Seattle LAFC game.
3-1 LAFC.
2-1 Seattle.
2-2. 4-3 Seattle in penalties.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Where's the? Yeah, you don't have your pen, do you?
The one time.
It's
in my car. Well, we've got a record of it here. It's fine. We have an audio record. We have an audio record of it. I'll remember it, because I'll be right.
Here we go. Bill Holcomb 4-0 for LAFC. Joey saying 3-2 Seattle. Kevin Gorham 0-1 Seattle.
Could this be the first game that we see go to penalties?
Yeah, maybe so. And somebody pointed out earlier, I think it was Joe Johnstone, I do miss the old MLS penalty format.
Right.
Did you ever see that?
Oh, man. Bring that back.
The old 90s MLS penalties, you started from like half field. You dribble the ball in a one-on-one against the keeper. Yeah, exactly.
But you only could get so many touches.
Yeah, keeper.
How many?
I don't remember how many.
We have Stuck 2011 says 3-1 Seattle. Domer 3-2 Seattle in extra time. And then Nick Dunbar says 3-3 and then 5-3 Seattle in
5 touches from the 40-yard line is what it was.
Oh man.
Bring it back.
Connor Thompson, your avatar, is that Frylock and Shake? Or am I looking at that wrong?
I got Master Roshi from that.
It
I
looks.
see the white beard with Master Roshi with red eyes is what I see.
Yeah, I can't tell. I can't tell. It looks like Frylock at the top to me. Oh, it says Eggman from Sonic. So, or as us old heads used to refer to him as Dr. Robotnik. Yeah, before he got changed to Eggman. I see now.
Right on.
I see now.
I see it. I got it. Okay.
Ooh, I like it. Sid the Science Kid says Roldan scores a hat trick for the bogus red that he got against LAFC.
So the
Dirty Bird person 4-2 LAFC.
It's all over the place, back and forth. I don't think anyone knows what's coming out of that game.
Yeah.
All right. Score prediction for Atlanta United.
I say it's 2-0. I say we continue this defensive record that we have in the playoffs. Still, how many games have we played in the playoffs so far in our history? 1 in the first year, 3, 4, and we've given up 2 goals ever in the playoffs.
I don't like it.
And just in context, again, Franco Escobar scored 3 goals in the playoffs as a defender.
Angie.
3-1.
Atlanta.
Yes.
Say 2-1 Atlanta. In extra time.
We've played 8 total games in the playoffs, and we've given up
2
goals.
2-1 Atlanta United in extra time is what I'm saying.
Brittany S says 4-0 hat trick Joseph Martinez. I said what I said.
Wow.
Yep. Bill Holcomb 3-2 in extra time to Atlanta. Kevin Gorham 2-1 to Atlanta. Domer 3-0 to Atlanta.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sid the Science Kid 2-0 to Atlanta, I'm guessing.
So this sucks, man. It sucks. I'm excited for Atlanta United being in you texted me right after the match. I was like, how fucking crazy is this? Like, we're hosting Eastern Conference final. I fucking hate that it's on a Wednesday.
Yeah, it sucks.
Like, it's tough to really enjoy it with any sort of intensity because you're rushing to get over there from work, and then immediately after you got to haul ass to get home to get any sort of sleep for work the next day.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Hopefully they get that fixed. They've got to do something different next year, I think.
Yeah, it was crazy because we had the sports equinox this weekend, and MLS was the only major sport in the U.S. that wasn't represented in some sort of fashion. Every other major league sport in the U.S. played games this weekend.
Like, if
it was like a huge weekend for Vegas.
Even if it's this weekend instead of during the midweek, that would be better. Like, why do you need 10 days off from conference final to final versus 7 days? You know?
Yeah, no.
Seems
That's fair.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. You can find us on Twitter at Home Before Dark. That's before spelled B and the number 4. Angie, where can they find you at?
I'm not on Twitter, just Instajam.
And where can they find you
at Angie Kakoma Herb, or just through Tim and Kevin's Instagrams.
I like it. Whenever we're not Naruto running across Buford Highway.
Yes.
Yeah, that was amazing.
With a belly full of bubble tea.
Bubble stuff.
Bubble stuff.
If you did find us on iTunes or any other podcatcher, if there is a like, subscribe, star, comment, whatever is available, please do so. It helps spread the word and awareness so that others may find us like you have. If you're listening to us on iTunes and you want to tune in, be sure to go to Home Before Dark on YouTube. I think we've got a bit.ly set up, bit.ly/HP4D YouTube. Did I say iTunes? I meant to say YouTube.
Yeah.
To find us on YouTube, to hit the bell icon, the bell Holcomb icon, to get a notification whenever we go live, to hang out in the trap with the rest of these great folks. Thank you to everybody that tunes in each and every week live. You guys make this show so much easier to do than coming up with topics and points of conversation than doing so on our own. So thank you to everybody that shows out. You know who you are. We mention you each and every week on the show for a reason, because you guys are what drives this show forward, aside from our own mutual love and respect for one another and the drive to see each other each and every week. I think it's maybe more so on my end than on yours, but that's another stuff.
Physical.
Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next week. As always, unite and conquer.
That's not what we always say.
This week, it's what we
This
say.
week, it's what we say.
Be home before dark.